Thank you so much for tuning in, and we're going to have wonderful conversation on today. And I want to welcome my special guest, LaMonica Madden.
All right.
Welcome, LaMonica.
Thank you so much.
LaMonica is a wife.
Yes.
She's a mom.
Yes.
And first lady of the Freedom Center, serving alongside her husband,
Yes.
Pastor Christopher Madden.
Love of my life.
Love of your life.
Yes.
I have one of those.
I know.
But also, LaMonica is the CEO and president of Monetize Your Brand.
Yes.
And she is also an online strategist, entrepreneur,
Yes.
and brand monetization expert.
That's right.
I got it.
You did.
LaMonica has been featured in Essence, in Forbes,
Yes.
HuffPost,
Yes. Huffington Post.
and Black Enterprise.
Yes.
That is so amazing.
Yes.
And we're so grateful to have
Thank
you
you so
sitting here
much.
with us.
I'm grateful to be here.
I'm so excited. But before we dive into conversation, we have to say something about Biden's VP pick, Kamala Harris, making history
So proud.
as the first woman of color
Yes.
running on
Yes.
a major ticket.
So proud.
That is history in the making.
It is.
So our country is on a buzz
Yes.
right now,
Yes.
because it has never happened. It seems like 2020 has brought in so much first times for us. I mean, this is the first time in 100 years or so that we have dealt with the pandemic and all of the things that go along with that. So we are seeing so much history being made in 2020. So 2020 is a year.
It's a year
that we will never forget.
This one is going down in the books.
It's going down in the books.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Having a woman of color run on the ticket?
I am extremely proud.
Yes.
And I'm more so proud that the rest of the world gets to see what we already have known our whole life, is that we can do anything.
Can do anything.
We're magical beings. We can do anything. And so I'm very proud of Kamala.
Yes.
I'm excited for the election.
I am too.
I don't think
it just heightened.
I don't
that
think there's
excitement.
no level of this pandemic that's going to keep us away from the polls.
Exactly. Whatever you have to do.
Yes.
Whether that's mail in, drive by, whatever.
Online, if they offer it,
yes.
vote.
Whatever the avenues are, we want to make sure that we show up in record numbers.
Yes.
Because this is history.
Yes.
And we don't want to let that go by, because it's not an ordinary, everyday experience.
This is big.
It's big.
Yeah,
real big. So let's get into conversation today. When we hear the words monetize your brand, what do you want us to know and the viewers to know when you hear the word monetize? that happens to me
this
all
that
the
same
time.
earring. It just don't want to obey.
It's stylish. It's stylish.
It's
to
the
do that
style.
way. Yeah.
So the term monetize your brand, it derived from the root word of monetize, monetization. And essentially what I specialize in is helping people turn their personal brands into profitable brands. I believe that a lot of people feel like they have to be an expert in order to be an expert.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yes.
And the truth is that's not necessarily the case. See, when people think that they have to be an expert, they think that they have to have, PhDs, they have to sit on the board of a university, they have to have gone to Johns Hopkins, have to, be a graduate of the most elite Ivy League, as opposed to understanding that your own knowledge and experience qualifies you as an expert. For example, there's a young lady at my church who goes to my church, and she makes the best chocolate covered strawberries. I think she could put edible arrangements. She could put anybody out of business.
Wow.
And she it's just her natural gift. It's just a natural talent for her. And she has a successful business. So if I wanted to start a business making chocolate covered strawberries and learn how to run it successfully, she is the subject matter expert that I would need to go to. Her unique experience and expertise is what qualifies her. And so essentially, I just show people how to monetize those gifts and talents that are already innately in them.
Wow, that is so awesome. So I'm hearing you saying that it's stop looking at a certain branch of expertise. Stop looking at that, but look at what you already have.
Yes.
And then you can always grow that and something that you love. That's to me the most important thing. Doing something you love.
Yes.
And you're good at it because you love it. That is wonderful. So
yes.
So would you say that your brand, when I'm thinking of also your brand, because I hear people say all the time, you are your brand wherever you are.
Yes.
So how should we, because I have to stop to think about that sometime when I go out the house. So how am I representing my brand?
Yeah.
When I'm just going here or going there. Is there that type of consciousness that we should have? Because we are our brand represented in every area. So
my mentor told me, she said, LaMonica, your brand is whatever people say about you when you're not in the room.
Oh.
That's your brand, which is connected to your reputation. So you want to make sure it's so many different layers to your brand. There's the visual aspect of your brand in terms of how you present yourself. Is it consistent across the board with how you present yourself? The type of materials that you put out, the type of products that you create. If you help enough people get what they want, then in turn you're going to end up getting what you want. So are you actually able to put out quality products that are able to help people get what they want? And then again, what do you want to be known for? Your brand is that one thing that you want to be known for. I've tried, there has been people who did not know me by name, but they walked up to me and said, hey, I know you, you're Miss Monetize your brand. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the way to put it. And what end up becoming clients and long-term clients just based on the brand that I've put out and being consistent with it.
So, you know what, you said something that an exercise that I've done before, as far as when I was in my training for my coach certification and all of that. So what they ask us to do is send out a list of words to different people, and then ask them to write down which identifies you. And that was so interesting to get the results back of what people really thought. And some I just didn't realize, because within yourself your worth and what you can do, but when you know that other people notice it, that's pretty, pretty amazing when someone else can see what you have been really working to present, and someone else see it without you telling them.
Even more mind-blowing when people see things in you that you didn't even see in yourself.
That's true too. Yeah. That's
really
growth.
Cause you to rise to the occasion.
Like, okay, let's see that. Let me straighten up.
Let me get it together.
If that's what you said.
Right.
Okay. And it's so encouraging too.
Yes.
Well, one of the other things that I just wanted to, because our time is, we're not going a long time, it's just going to be short. But when a person is considering launching into their own business and starting something from ground floor, I know that we've already said said something about your passion and something that you're good at, like the lady that makes the chocolate strawberry, of which I need to get her card.
Yes.
Love those. So what would be some steps as a person who's been in this business for quite a while, a CEO, owner of your own, and you've been, I'm sure, experienced the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So what would you say to someone who's contemplating and, feel this passion and want to get out there, but kind of shaky, not for sure? What would you say to that person?
Excuse me. So a few things. I always tell my clients, no matter when you get started, make it look as if you've been here and the rest of the world is just now finding out about you. So that means always, from straight out of the gate, put your best foot forward. If you can help it, don't let your cousin design your website unless they're a professional graphic designer.
Oh, that is a good point.
Don't get the stock templates at Vistaprint for your business cards and your brand. Actually take the time to invest in yourself. And I say that because at the level that you invest in yourself is the level that you're qualified to demand of others invest in you.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
Yes.
So
now my consulting agency, we work with more like high ticket clients. I could not have been confident charging high ticket rates if I did not go through enough of the trial and error of myself to learn what works and what doesn't work in order to create a blueprint for them. And 2, without me investing in myself. In order for me to actually feel comfortable with charging a premium, I had to pay a premium. And so start as if you've been here and the rest of the world is just now finding out about you, and always invest in yourself. Don't look at it as I'm spending money or this costs too much. Look at it as this is an investment, and what is my return on this investment going to be?
That is so true. I believe all of that. One of the things that even I had to do was to sit down before I launched into personal life coaching, is to consider what investments would have to be made. That's before even getting into it. What are the investments? And the investments, like you said, what financial investments? How much is it going to cost? And are you going to be able to complete once you start?
Right.
And then investment of time. How much time is it going to take for this? Because how many of us have started things, but then found out, this takes too much of my time. I'm not going to be able to do that. But considering those things in advance, looking at that, like you said, the investment, and then also, and I'm sure you can attest to that, who's your I think you call it squad. Who's your squad?
Circle? Yes.
And how important is that?
It is very important to have a supportive circle. Entrepreneurship, it looks glitz and glamorous, when you see it on TV and when you see it in the magazines, but it is a real life roller coaster ride. There's going to be a lot of ups, and there's going to be maybe even more downs. And you're going to have to learn how to weather the storm. And there's going to be times when you are so discouraged. And if you don't have the right circle around you who has the ability to speak life into you and speak life into your endeavors and tell you that you can do this when you feel like you can't, it is going to be a lot harder for you to get off the ground the way you need to.
So you need that core group or that squad or whatever that you want to call it.
It's definitely
your
a
support
squad.
system to, even when you say, well, I'm done, I can't do this, to tell you, oh yes, you have committed to this, you've come too far, you're going to finish.
And it doesn't have to be a big squad.
Yeah.
It should actually be very tight and close-knit. It should only be people that you trust with a certain level of access to you. You should not, go around speaking your plans to everyone, because
so it doesn't have to be your BFF. She may not even be included in that particular squad.
Right. Now, I'm fortunate enough that she is, but she has always been my biggest cheerleader since we were kids. So I'm fortunate in that regard, but my squad is very, very close and tight-knit. Now, I have a lot of people that I love, but when it comes to sharing new endeavors and the things that I feel like God is speaking to me, that He's trying to push me to endeavor upon, that circle is real, real close. And it's really just my husband, my best friend, and that may be about it on that level. And then there's a different level where you have like your team in terms of who's going to carry out the vision, and you begin to give them the vision that they're going to be in charge of carrying out. And then then there's other things, where I'm just putting out fillers, and so I'll talk to everybody. Hey, I'm thinking about doing something. Like, what do y'all think about this? Right, just to see if it's even a market for it. So there's definitely different levels to the squad.
Now, I heard you say that there's mountains, tops experiences, and then you have your valley experiences. Yes. So when it's the valley experiences, what are some of those factors that can stop you while you're having your valley experiences?
Not having a system. One thing that I did, like my first few years of coaching, I would wing it, in terms of, like the marketing promotion. And then once I got a client, then I would stop the marketing and promotion. And then when that contract was up, now I'm like, oh crap, there's nothing in the pipeline. I got to go back to it. And it was this constant feast or famine cycle that I kept going through. And it wasn't until I began to put in systems like a sales funnel that goes from the Facebook ad to the online webinar training presentation to the application to the sales call. Like, it was once I started implementing systems that I was able to have more predictability in my business, more predictability in my revenue. But me winging it really accounted for a lot of my valley experiences, because I just was not properly prepared. Or another thing that I learned in my business, fourth quarter was the worst times. Like, so that fourth quarter going into like, October, November, December.
Yeah. From the holidays.
It was horrible. I couldn't get a new client to save my life. But as soon as January would hit, it would be on the uptick. And I knew that in my business. And so because I knew that this was the trends or the cycle that was in my business, I had just began to prepare for it. So either extending out the agreements longer to accommodate, or creating more passive income products that created fillers during that quarter, so that I did not feel any type of revenue hit.
So was that a learning process for you to recognize that? And because you had, and that's one thing I think is important, that you said you have a mentor yourself. Yes. And so I'm sure that meant that your mentor could see what was going on and kind of help walk you through those moments. So would you say that even if you're a coach needs a coach? Absolutely. Just like a therapist needs a therapist. Absolutely. And so we all need that support system, because at some point you're gonna need another voice outside of your own to kind of, as you said, push you into that God has called you to do. Because it's easy to give up. Yes. So easy. Yes. Especially, and as you have put it before, that mediocrity is not an option. It's not. Mediocrity is not an option. Mediocrity is the killer of greatness. It's the killer of greatness. And I just can't subscribe to it. And that's a mindset that we have to have, especially when you're talking about being an entrepreneur and owning your own business. You that mindset has to be there. And even during the low times, as you talked about, and the high times, God is still the same.
Yes.
Whether it's high,
Period.
low, in between.
Yes.
And I would, and I'm sure you would ditto this as well, for those who are starting out and they feel that passion, and they feel like this is the time, but yet, kind of shaking in the boots. But I would say, just if you know this is God-given, and you've done the homework, you've made the assessment, you know what it's going to take.
Counted up the cost.
You've counted up the cost, and you have those in your corner that is backing you. You have everything in place. You've done it according to the experts and what the experts have taught you to do. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel shaky, because when we're moving into something new and unknown territory, there's always going to be an element of fear. So would you say as well, just jump?
Absolutely.
Just jump on in it.
Yes, and as you said, this is now my new favorite quote, just jump and the net will appear. I love it.
That's the trust factor.
I love it. But absolutely, don't wait on perfect. Don't wait on perfection, because perfection will never come. Perfection will keep you stalled, and next thing you know, 10 years has went by and you're still working on getting started. So just jump. Just jump.
And let it go. You'll be all right. You won't drown.
There's an analogy that says, just jump and build the plane on the way down.
Oh, that's good.
You're just putting the plane together on your way down so you can fly.
So if you do hit bottom, you got that plane.
Right.
It's going back up. So that's great. And then, just real quick, because we are just about out of time.
Okay.
The 3 C's of life, which talks about choice, chance, and change. And I'm just going to read this quote real quick. You must make the choice to take the chance if you want anything in life to change.
Yes.
How true is that for you?
So true. It's literally how I've gotten to where I am. It's not waiting on anyone to give me permission.
Yes, boss lady.
Yeah. Not waiting on anyone to give me permission. I understand that, considering, where I grew up and coming from a single parent home and, father in and out of the picture, I understand that I should not be who I am and I should not be where I am. And I just refuse to subscribe to any negative connotations that's supposed to be associated with my upbringing or my past.
But you said a key word. You said choose to subscribe.
I choose not to.
You have a choice. There's been many great people, people who have done great things that have come out of similar and sometimes even worse backgrounds. So there had to be a mental state of mind to say, this is not me.
Yes.
And choose to do something different or to do something better.
Yes.
So in these last few moments, what would you say to those who are listening that are really contemplating, maybe that person that says, well, it's just too hard. It's not working. I'm just going to close up, especially in this season of life. Or maybe that person who is saying, okay, I got it. I hear you all. I can do this. What would you say to them in closing?
I would say that everything that you need to be who God has called you to be is already inside of you.
Already there.
It's already right there. Everything that you need to generate wealth, to change your life, to create the future that you envision is already inside of you. And you do not need to wait on anyone's permission to be who God has called you to be.
So today, we give you permission.
We give you permission.
In the name of the Lord.
In the name of Jesus. To be who God has called you to be.
Amen. Thank you so much. God bless you.